Thank you, Katie. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SMMT Connected for 2024. Now, if the past is a foreign country, the future has to be our own backyard, albeit one where we do things a little bit differently. We've got to map that future, know how to get there, and be confident in that new landscape. So when we discuss connected and self-driving vehicles, the temptation is to slide into flights of fantasy, perhaps reminiscent of the old television program Tomorrow's World, 1960s fantasies such as teleporting, space settlement, and weather control. Some of these things we'll never live to see. Others, perhaps we wish we could control. But the future of connected and self-driving vehicles depends on what we do today. Both technologies, and remember they are two distinct but related technologies, are realities, albeit at different stages of development. Both are experiencing perhaps what is called the hype cycle. Now it starts, as you've seen over the past few years, inflated expectations, some of which may never be deliverable and certainly not in the timescale forecast. That leads us through the trough of disillusionment, it's called, when some lose interest, when the wheat is separated from the chaff. And then the survivors, those with a practical applicability and a business case, rise to what is called the plateau of productivity. Sounds fabulous. For many, that is still perhaps a foreign land, but particularly with connected technologies is becoming ever more familiar territory, democratizing data with real-time benefits. Connectivity is already giving us apps that tell drivers about traffic diversion and congestion in real time. Apps which tell electric vehicle drivers where the nearest charge points are, whether they're available, and hopefully whether they are working. Apps to tell drivers of the location of free car parking spaces, and even what floor they are on in multi-story car parks. The next stage will be vehicle to infrastructure connectivity, to advise drivers perhaps of the optimum speed to ensure they make the next green traffic light. And vehicle-to-vehicle connectivity to tell someone approaching from a blind intersection that there is another vehicle coming, or to inform drivers there is an emergency vehicle within the vicinity. All of these technologies have been developed. What needs to happen next is for the business cases to be made, scale increased, make them viable, and for partnerships between the relevant parties to be formed. And we also need the right regulatory framework, one that enables innovation but protects and reassures drivers, passengers, users. Here in the UK, of course, we're in the early stages, or perhaps sweats of election fever. But before the Prime Minister asks the King to dissolve Parliament, our hope must be that the Automated Vehicles Bill becomes law. More than £600 million has already been committed to connected and self-driving testing and trialling here since 2015. Our latest report suggests that implementing the technology in on-road passenger services, such as buses, taxis, and ride-hailing, could deliver a market worth £3.7 billion annually. We have the foundations, but other major markets in the EU and the US already have their regulatory frameworks in place. We need to catch up, so backing the AV bill is non-negotiable. Even if the current timetable is adhered to, we're unlikely to see self-driving vehicles on our roads until at least 2026. However, if the bill is delayed until after the election, that date is likely to be closer to 2030, a delay we can ill afford. Already, self-driving tech developed in Britain by British companies is being deployed elsewhere in the world, but it cannot yet happen here, putting our market at a disadvantage. And we will lose another advantage, the appetite of the UK consumer to adopt new technology. Because we tend to have, as Brits, a real openness to innovation and new cutting-edge technology. It's why the UK is the highest smartphone penetration in Western Europe, the most Netflix subscribers of the whole of Europe, and we're the reigning online shopping champions. It is also one of the reasons why Ford, for instance, chose the UK as the first market in Europe for their Blue Cruise technology. And it is why almost a third of all adults would use an automated passenger service today, such as a bus, taxi, or hailing vehicle, despite that technology still being tomorrow's world for them. So consumer attitudes are critical. Yes, we need the technologies to mature. We need to make the right business case and build the right business model. But it is vital that we take the consumer with us. These technologies cannot be foreign to them. They must be familiar and proven to facilitate better lives. They already see the benefits: reduced stress of driving, safer journeys, potentially lower insurance costs and cheaper fares. It is understandable, however, given that no self-driving vehicles are yet on UK roads, that many people are perhaps still anxious. So this is why our industry must work with government and other stakeholders to dispel some of those myths and communicate the benefits rather than allow the misconceptions to rule. The prize on offer for getting this right is immense. Economic impact as high as £38 billion by 2040, 53,000 serious accidents and 323,200 lives prevented, saved by 2040. And these are just from rolling out self-driving cars and passenger services on our roads, with another 28 billion up for grabs from off-road, mining, farming, for instance, as well as on-road logistics applications. Now, Leonardo da Vinci famously, or allegedly, designed the first helicopter back in the 15th century. He did it without R&D. He never built one. There was no prototypes. It was never tested. Never had to make a business case, never had to seek regulatory approval, and those to whom he showed it were hugely skeptical. Now, because all of these things were eventually done, helicopters are a vital part of how we live. They are the realities. And the same is becoming true of connected and self-driving vehicles. But let's ensure we have the right regulation in place, the right business conditions, and a welcoming attitude amongst consumers so they become the realities in the UK and not some foreign country. Now, Leonardo da Vinci did not live to see his flying machine get off the ground, but we must ensure that the innovators of today can see connected and automotive technology made real, that our economy and society should reap the rewards of that technology, and that connected and automated technology is not forever on the horizon, not tomorrow's world, but today's. Thank you very much.